So I was preparing to do a news video today, and there was like a couple items that I didn't cover yesterday that I was going to cover today. And then all of a sudden, it was just news item after news item. So let's dive right into it. The first thing we're going to cover is the head coach vacancy in Owen Sound. The Attack, they announced this morning that they have parted ways with interim head coach Darren Rumble. They say he's going to pursue opportunities closer to home. And they have also decided to not renew the contract of assistant coach Sean Tickle. So this Owen Sound Attack team, it was a roller coaster ride of a 2023-24 season. You'll remember 7 games into the regular season, they fired Greg Walters due to an incident that happened off ice. That was on their road trip to Sault Ste. Marie. And after that, Rumble was called in to be the interim head coach after he was just hired last summer as an assistant. And this team just could not get the consistency going. They had high expectations coming into the regular season, and they just not able to meet those expectations, and then ended with a sweep in the playoffs to the Saginaw Spirit. They also fell to 7th place in the Western Conference standings. So a team that was really expected to compete maybe for that Midwest Division title, falling well short. And Dale DeGray, the general manager of the Owen Sound Attack, deciding we're going to make some changes behind the bench. And this team, they want to play an Owen Sound style of hockey. That's what DeGray is saying. The Bayshore Community Center is one of the smaller rinks in the Canadian Hockey League. It's also the second smallest right now in the OHL when you compare it to the rinks that are being used in the circuit. Brantford right now playing in the smallest rink in the Ontario Hockey League. But for DeGray, he wants the team to be an imposing team on home ice. He says that he wants teams that are coming in as visitors to feel intimidated when they go onto the ice at the Bayshore. So that's the kind of head coach he's looking for. I'm curious as to what direction they're going to go because I felt like this team, I did a video talking about in the offseason how this team is going to look going into next year. And I feel this team is primed for a rebuild, just with a lot of veterans who are graduating. Now that you're making this coaching change as well, I feel like it's a sign that this team is definitely looking to the future. It'll be curious to see who they go with because for Rumble coming in, he ended the season with a record of 25, 28, 5, and 3 as a head coach. He didn't really get the most out of these players. Colby Barlow did everything he could when he was in the lineup to get victories for this Owen Sound Attack team, but he missed significant time due to a back injury. So for Owen Sound, I'm really curious who are they going to bring in as their next head coach because this is now the 3rd coaching change this offseason in the Ontario Hockey League. This follows Ken McKenzie in Sudbury, who resigned, and then Chad Wiseman, who was let go in Guelph. I almost wonder if Wiseman would be considered for the head coaching position with Owen Sound because Wiseman, he had 2 years with the Guelph Storm behind the bench. I felt like he did okay with the Guelph Storm team, considering what he was handed with. This year for Guelph, it was the injury problems and the questions about Matthew Poitras, which kind of left Guelph hanging. So does Wiseman go to Owen Sound? We'll have to wait and see. But right now, DeGray saying that the head coach search is now on, and we'll see where it goes from here. Next up, Easton Cowan. He had an MVP season and he has been rewarded. He's been announced as the winner of the Red Tilson Trophy as the league's most outstanding player. Of course, Easton Cowan, a Toronto Maple Leafs prospect, so getting a lot of attention on that front, and a leader on and off the ice with this London Knights team. And for Cowan, the trophy is voted on by the media that covers the OHL, and for Cowan, he received 41% of the votes. Second was Zane Parekh with 18%, and then David Goyette, who had 17% of the vote. I did cast my vote in this as well, along with my colleagues, because this year there was a lot of great candidates. Even Anthony Romani for the North Bay Battalion, he led the league in goal scoring, and you have to figure he was probably about 4th. We don't see the full results into the poll voting, but still, Easton Cowan, well deserving of the most outstanding player of the year award. For Cowan, outstanding out on the ice. He had a 36-game point streak to finish the regular season, which is a new Knights franchise record, and then extended that point streak into the playoffs up to 42 games. So Easton Cowan just finding ways to get on the score sheet. He only appeared in 54 games during the regular season, and he still put up 34 goals, 62 assists, 96 points with 33 multi-point games. So Easton Cowan, he's been outstanding. He's now the 7th player from the London Knights to have won the Red Tilson Trophy. He joins Mitch Marner, who last did it in 2016, Michael Hauser, who won in 2012, Corey Perry in 2005, Jason Allison did it in 1994, Dave Simpson in 1982, and then Dennis Merrick in 1975. So congratulations going to Easton Cowan on winning the Red Tilson. And we do have a couple of signings to touch on. Alessandro Delorio, he is signed with the Sarnia Sting. They announced the signing this morning. Of course, Delorio selected 2nd overall at the OHL priority selection. So he's signed his OHL scholarship and development contract. So exciting times for him. Delorio played with the Vaughan Kings last season, and he had a great showing at the OHL Cup. Posted 4 goals, 2 assists, good for 6 points in 7 games. And for this Sarnia Sting team, they are looking to take that next step. They missed the playoffs, but not by much this season. And they're going to be returning a lot of players from last year's group that kind of did more than we expected. Not many thought the Sarnia Sting would be pushing for a playoff spot in the second half of the regular season, but that's what they did. And for general manager Dylan Sika, he says Delorio is the player that you can have as your cornerstone piece going forward. So a lot of excitement around the Sarnia Sting organization, and it's going to be interesting to see how it translates for Delorio with the Junior Hockey League team right now taking part in that orientation camp down in Sarnia. It was also announced yesterday that the Guelph Storm have signed Alex McLean. McLean, he was selected 9th overall at the OHL priority selection, and for McLean, he's got that scholarship and development agreement now. He was outstanding with the Barrie Colts under-16 team last year. He put up 31 goals, 54 assists, 84 points in just 38 games of action. So he's going to be a very important piece for the Storm team moving ahead with his skill both with and without the puck. And for Guelph, they're kind of in a similar spot as the Owen Sound Attack. Just the disappointment of last year ended up being swept in the first round. And we'll see what Guelph does because they're also looking for a new head coach. So Guelph and Owen Sound, those two teams, they might be pretty close to each other next season. And we'll see who can take that next step first, if it's going to be Owen Sound or Guelph. But a good start there as McLean is signed with the Guelph Storm. Still waiting for Ethan Belchetz to sign his agreement with the Windsor Spitfires after being selected 1st overall. The Windsor Spitfires, they're hosting their orientation camp this weekend. So I'm expecting that we should hear something. It could be after I post this video that he signs his contract with the Windsor Spitfires, or it'll come at the end of the weekend. But either way, expect to hear word of Belchetz signing with the Windsor Spitfires this weekend. And tonight, a big game it's a big night for both the East and the Western Conference Finals. It's Game 5. We could find out as soon as tonight who will battle it out for the OHL Championship. The Oshawa Generals, they have a 3-1 series lead over the North Bay Battalion, and the London Knights also up 3-1 on the Saginaw Spirit. But London, they will have to do it without Sawyer Boulton. He's been suspended again, this time for a slew foot, which happened in Game 4 against Saginaw. This means he won't be eligible to return to the London Knights lineup until Game 7 if the series goes that far, or Game 2 of the OHL final if the Knights are able to clinch the Western Conference title tonight. I know for some they feel this wasn't much of a slew foot and they kind of question the call, but that was the penalty on the play, and as a result, Boulton has been handed his 7th suspension of the season for both the regular season and playoffs. He's had suspensions for various offenses, and he's missed over 20 games due to suspension. So I know a lot of people focusing on Sawyer Boulton, thinking a player like that shouldn't be at this level. Some are others saying that he's being targeted because of his previous history. So wherever you stand on this, the bottom line is Sawyer Boulton has been suspended for 2 games due to a slew foot. But there is good news for the London Knights. They'll have Caleb Lawrence eligible to return tonight after he served his 5-game suspension following a hit he threw on Simon Motu in the series against the Kitchener Rangers. So Caleb Lawrence actually having a really good playoff offensively. Coming into the conference final, he was in the top 5 in scoring for the London Knights. So we'll see if Lawrence comes back in the lineup. I would suspect he does. I haven't seen the official lineups yet for tonight's game between the Knights and the Spirit. But that's where we stand right now. And there was a lot of news going on around the Ontario Hockey League. So that's how I see it from the booth. Let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on any of these news items. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And we'll talk to you again soon.